Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Azrael from Curse of the White Knight. But not only that, this is the black and white sketch, line art, Entertainment Earth Gold Label exclusive. Obviously, I pre-ordered this from Entertainment Earth. It arrived today, so let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, Sketch Edition, McFarlane Toys. This is part of the Gold Label collection. A Gold Label figure is simply a retailer exclusive. Whether it be Target or Walmart, this particular Gold Label is an Entertainment Earth exclusive. DC, Azrael from Curse of the White Knight, authenticated limited edition to 3,100 pieces. Here he is in the package. Azrael is traditional Order of St. Dumas suit. One side, Azrael, Curse of the White Knight, Sketch Edition. Other side, blank. At the back, here he is post up, holding his Sword of Sin. At the bottom, we have his barcode, if that happens to help anybody. This is one of McFarlane's deluxe figures. Remove the outer sleeve, and you can see the figure inside. Looking fantastic, especially his sword. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And of course, I did get two of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, the other one to keep unopened in my complete Batman and related unopened action figure collection. And here are all three different variations of this Azrael. We have the original red version, which is still one of my favorite McFarlane DC Multiverse figures to date. Of course, in the middle, the new sketch version, and on the right, the Gold Label Suit of Sorrows version, which is mislabeled as Jean-Paul Valley because it's clearly the Michael Lane Azrael. It is a perfect rendition of him. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He has a display stand, collector's card, display stand for his collector's card, and then his Sword of Sin, which looks absolutely fantastic. Before I deload all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Azrael from Batman Curse of the White Knight, which is a sequel to Batman the White Knight, which is sort of a what-if, future, Elseworlds type story, in that Azrael is not exactly a Bat ally like he normally is, but he's wearing pretty much the same costume as his Order of St. Dumas Azrael suit, which is what he wore when he first met Batman, and then in the Rebirth comics. But of course, this is a black and white sketch version, line art variant. Now, the original Azrael is one of my favorite McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. He's just so well done. And this guy is the exact same sculpt, so let's take a look. Starting with his face here, he has the hood and the mask cover up the face. He's part of the Order of St. Dumas. His wings, now they are fragile. My original one broke and I had to glue it. Just be careful with them. The head has pretty good articulation. You can move the entire hood around. Very good range of motion. The sculpt is fantastic. All this extra stuff like knives and necklaces, decorations hanging off his belt, although they're kind of hard to see in the black and white paint job. Single jointed elbow, double jointed knees. Good figure. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. It's good, but something's lost in the black and white paint job. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. He has his display stand, typical McFarlane stand we've seen a million times before, but this one has the Batman White Knight logo on it. It's thin, it's basic. Now for his collector's card, as you can see, it's an image of Azrael from Curse of the White Knight, and it's done in black and white. Azrael Sketch Edition. Backside there is a certificate of authenticity. This is number 2,926 out of 3,100. Here's the collector's card with the original White Knight Azrael on the left, the sketch version in the middle, and the Suit of Sorrows on the right. And it doesn't do much for me, but if you want to display the collector's card next to your figure, there's a stand to do so. And now for a sword. The sword is called the Sword of Sin. It's sort of a sword of fire. I was kind of wondering how they were going to handle this being a black and white release, and I think they did it excellent. The entire sword is done in a semi-transparent orange plastic, simulating fire. The original version had a regular sword and the same kind of fire like this. You can see they have the crucifix here, and it's sort of upside down. Nice sculpted detail on the handle. The sword actually comes out, and it's a nice fiery attachment. I think it's very well done. Here's Azrael holding that sword, and then holding that sword with the fire attached. Fantastic accessory. Now I want to check out the differences and similarities between this sketch version of Azrael and the original red release. Besides the obvious paint differences, they're 100% the same figure, same sculpt, same articulation. Really like this figure. Really like the paint job. Really like all the detail on the armor. Some of that is just lost on this guy. Like the design on the face. Completely gone on him. All the little extra details on the belt. you don't really see him nearly as good. It is cool, but this guy is so much cooler. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 7.1 inches tall, which can translate to 18 centimeters. And if you go to the top of his cape, about 7.5 inches tall. And now for his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. He can look up and down a very good amount considering the hood. Can't tilt his head from one side to the other. The head and neck is one solid piece, but it's done very well. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes up about 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He does have the butterfly joint ring between the shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion and covering large gap. Bicep cut below that. Single jointed elbow. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. His torso is ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion in the torso. Legs complete with splits, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is pretty good on him. Legs go forward about that much. Back, not much at all. Double jointed knees, and then his ankle forward and back. Rotate, tilt, rock, and of course, to articulation. Here's a look at all three versions of the White Knight Azrael, all with their collector's cards behind them. Here's Azrael holding a sword, kneeling down in a church. Here's Azrael down on one knee, worshipping Saint Dumas. And here he is in a church setting with a bunch of different members of the Order of Saint Dumas. Azrael is getting his Sword of Sin blessed by the Order. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Azrael figures. Here's this sketch version of the White Knight Azrael, next to the colored version. And this red version of the White Knight Azrael is one of my favorite McFarlane figures to date. And here he is, next to the Walmart exclusive Suit of Sorrows version of that Azrael. This is labeled as Jean-Paul Valley, but is clearly based off the Michael Lane Azrael look, so that's who he is in my collection. And then, of course, here are all three versions of that Azrael sculpt. Here are all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Azrael figures they've made. He's got quite a lot of love in the McFarlane DC Multiverse line. I hope they make more of them. I would still like to have Sword of Azrael, First Appearance Azrael. I'd like to have a Rebirth version of Azrael. And there are still plenty of other options I could do over the years. And here he is, next to a DST, or Diamond Select Toys TV show Gotham Azrael. This one isn't Jean-Paul Valley, and it's not Michael Lane. This one is a made-up character named Theo Gallivan from the TV show. And I like having a different Azrael character. Then, next to all my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Azrael figures. And now, next to my Mattel Azrael figures. Here he is, next to the Mafex Azrael. And here he is, next to the Hasbro Azrael figures. Then, next to a custom Jean-Paul Valley and civilian attire that I put together. This is him with the long hair and the glasses. And now, next to a custom Theo Gallivan and business suit. This is based off the TV show Gotham. In the show, he was mayor for a very brief period of time. And finally, here he is, next to a bunch of Assassin's Creed figures. I use these for members of the Order of Saint Dumas. It's a religious order that Azrael came from. The hoods on these guys and the hoods on Azrael make them kind of consistent, and it works for me in my headcanon. Now let's check them out. Next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse, line art, black and white, sketch figures. Here he is, next to all the different sketch Batman figures they've made. And here he is, next to a sketch Superman and Black Manta. Then, with a sketch, the Batman Who Laughs and Joker. And now, next to a sketch, Mr. Freeze. Here's the entire collection of McFarlane DC Multiverse, black and white, line art, sketch figures. I believe the next one to come out is going to be a sketch version of the Hush Batman. And then we also have the 4-pack sketch version of the Superman Page Puncher Wave. They also made a sketch Spawn in their Spawn line. And the McFarlane DC Multiverse Page Puncher Batman and Black Adam. They're sketch figures, but they're a little bit different style. Not part of the line art collection. I also have this DC Direct New 52 Jim Lee sketch Batman from many years ago. Now let's check him out. Next to some recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Target exclusive Cassandra Cain Batgirl and Arrival. And here he is, next to the most recent Batman wave. We have Azrael in his Batman armor, both the regular and Platinum Chase variant, the black and gray version of the Nightfall Batman, And then Detective Comics number 27 Batman, both the regular and the Platinum Chase variant. Then, next to the JLA wave, Collective Build Plastic Man. And now, next to the Page Puncher wave, this is a Superman-themed wave. We have the Val Zod Superman of Earth 2, both Platinum and regular versions, the Armored Superman, Ghost of General Zod, and then both the Platinum and regular versions of Brainiac. Here's Azrael, next to the digital NTF wave. We have the DC Rebirth Batman, the Silver Age Hal Jordan Green Lantern, and the DC Classics Aquaman. And here he is, next to the Amazon exclusive Kilowog and Kyle Rayner Green Lantern 2-pack. And finally, next to the Walmart exclusive DC vs. Vampires Nightwing and Wally West Flash. So overall, this is a pretty nice Azrael figure. Now, I have kind of mixed feelings on the sketch figures. They kind of look cool in a collection, but they're useless as actual action figures, just display pieces. Now, the original Azrael, like I said, is one of my favorite McFarlane DC Multiverse figures ever. He's easily worth a 9 out of 10. And this one here is not nearly as good, as a lot of the sculpting details are lost with the sort of lack of paint. But still, it's really cool to add to the Azrael collection. McFarlane has made a ton of Azrael figures, especially as of late. Sculpt and paint job are excellent, although I'm not really feeling the black and white paint job. His accessory is absolutely fantastic. The Sword of Sin looks really cool, completely cast in orange. His articulation, it's a little bit dated, but I'm very impressed how they handle the head and the hood. But he does have single jointed elbows. If I were to rate this figure, probably going to give him a 6 out of 10, just because you can't use him in typical action figure photography. You can't have him interact with other figures. He's just a display piece, black and white, line art, sketch figure. I much prefer the red version of Azrael. He is amazing, and I also like the Walmart exclusive Suit of Sorrows Michael Lane version. This one is the worst of the three, but it's still a pretty cool figure, and it's nice to have a complete line art sketch collection. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.